Good evening and welcome to the video. That is my E39 M5 and I just spent about 25 man hours polishing it. Okay, a quick walk around for you guys just because I know you like it. It's been several days. It's been about 4 days or so since I washed it. It does have some dust on it. Of course, there's a little bit of dust, and then some of those are rock chips, a couple cobwebs here and there, but overall it's holding up very good. It did rain overnight, and this morning I did get to see, it's water beating and stuff, but benefits of a black car is you get to see literally everything. And when I say benefits, I mean the worst part. So this video is not going to be dedicated on me complaining about buying a black car, because obviously I knew it was black when I bought it, but that's just the nature of it. So this video is going to be dedicated as a recap as to sort of why, and that recap is going to be specifically to the products I used and the process I took. So what I've done for you guys is I've put a bunch of products in my trunk, and I figured it would be kind of fun to kind of go through, give a couple little thoughts and a little informational thoughts on my process and what I thought of what I did and all that good stuff. So let's jump right into it. Let's not waste any time. So the very first thing, it's not really necessarily in any order, but the very first thing is washing the car. So obviously before you do a full detail, I did a full paint correction on this car. If you guys missed that series, you clicked on this video, I spent about 25 hours. I had a few friends help me. We did a two-step paint correction, a little bit of wet sanding, polishing, and protection as well. We didn't do the trim yet, but I will be getting to that very shortly. So this is a recap of the products I use. Anyways, the strip wash I use, this is literally called strip wash, but generally speaking they are all called like a certain strip wash that you can pick. It's more aggressive. It's kind of like Dawn, but it's not gonna be hard on the plastics. You could use this, for example, maybe mix in some all-purpose cleaner and just rinse it off real quick. Obviously wash the car as well, but this worked fine. I didn't really have any complaints, but I was also dealing with a car that didn't really have anything on it besides a shit ton of dirt. So this was fine. This is what I used, and I have no issues. I'll probably use the rest of this, when the time comes. So the second part of my process was a decontamination phase, which I think everyone does. The point of doing decontamination is that the car has contamination on it. And how you do that is you remove it, and you remove it. The first step in removing it is an iron remover. This is Iron X by CarPro. I actually do prefer this lemon scent. The next batch I need, I'm going to be buying the lemon. It's just not as strong. It's not as horribly smelling as everything else I've used. So this is a chemical way to remove iron and embedded stuff in the paint. It could have iron, and on a white car like this one, you could potentially see little specks. Of course there's no specks on this car because it's in such good shape. Second part of the decontamination phase is something like a clay bar, or this is called a nanoskin auto scrub. I actually did use clay on this car except for a few parts, just because I was running out of daylight and I wanted to get it done. So this is the equivalent of a clay bar, but I don't have my clay bar out here, but you guys know what that looks like, and you understand the point of claying. You're picking up anything that's embedded that may not necessarily be iron, but overspray and all that stuff will be picked up with a clay bar. Of course, you're going to want to be drying the car. I have like a little blow dryer. I also have a bunch of microfibers that, I have a Geon silk dryer, which is not out here. It's actually in the wash, but this is just kind of a microfiber terry towel I wanted to bring and show you guys as an example. Okay, so the next part is going to be something called compounding. This stuff I initially started to use as a test panel, the Just Car Correcting Compound. It's good, but it wasn't good enough for this paint. The paint was a little hard, so I needed something more aggressive. I ended up using CarPro Clear Cut, which worked really well, but dusted a ton. So if you do use it, just keep in mind that you're going to be dealing with a lot of dust. The pad we ended up using, we initially tried a few different microfiber cutting pads, but this is a coarse wool let's see, it says polishing pad, but this is definitely a wool correcting pad. It's pretty aggressive, kind of on the scale of 1 to 10. Maybe it's an 8 as far as how aggressive it is. It's not straight up wool, it's kind of a hybrid. This one's not opened, of course, but you guys get the idea. Is we're fairly aggressive here. I didn't use this, but I did really like it. It just didn't do it. It wasn't as aggressive as I needed it. This is a pad brush that I like to use in between panels. You sort of turn on the polisher and just let it spin and then just kind of brush it out. You could always use air, but I don't have air and I just use that. My go-to to finish the car is a polish, which this is literally my default, and I know, as you know, detailers out there, you know, you shouldn't necessarily have a default for all cars necessarily, but I guess, you know, when it comes to polishing, it's not as imperative like it would be for correcting, because you're doing a lot more work and it's going to be more finicky, and matching what the car needs on the paint versus what you're doing is probably more imperative there. But anyways, I use this Sonax Perfect Finish. It really doesn't dust very well. It finishes so amazingly. I really should buy a bigger thing because I keep using it, but I don't do a ton of polishing, so you know, that's why I still have the smaller bottle, and it is pretty expensive. So the yellow pad, you know, I have a handful of different sizes on the yellow pad, but Sonax Perfect Finish, that is my go-to. Not to mention, this is the equivalent of isopropyl alcohol, but it's not as aggressive, and it's built to soak up the oils and stuff like that. So before you go to put sealant, and in between each panel, there's going to be dust and there's going to be some residue between these two steps that you should be wiping down, you know, like with a microfiber. You spray this and you're good to go. I can't forget to include, I don't have my other polisher here, but this is my newest addition. This is called the Rupus Hybrid Nano. I know it's called Bigfoot, which doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of the way they brand it. It has a bunch of different attachments, a 1-inch and a 2-inch, and you know, rotary settings, as well as 12mm throw. I believe it's 12 or 13mm throw. This is the one that's the further throw. So as you can see, it does a lot of work for such a little device, and seriously was a gem, you know, in between these little areas and these little areas. You know, if you're skilled, oh Brandon, you know, if you knew what you're doing, you wouldn't need this. But you know, trying to get in this little area, I can literally fit the pad underneath this panel, and it was so nice, especially on the front around the headlight washers and stuff. I really loved it. It definitely was a great investment. It's something I'm going to keep for a really long time. Same thing with my pressure washer. Oh, you spent $1,000 on a pressure washer, but I use it every time, and this thing is definitely helpful for a lot of the car. I used it way more, 5 times as much as I thought I would. So anyways, that's details on this thing, and it comes with a ton of different kits. All right, this is a detailing light. It's called the Scan Grip Color Match 2, so this is the 2nd gen. You know, it has 2 different settings, and it also has 2 different colors in here, and it's magnetized as well as, you know, different settings to sort of magnetize and stand it up and all that good stuff. This is really helpful for finding swirls, which there really are none. You know, here's a quick little test, you know, if I was inspecting the paint. You know, this isn't a great example because it's still kind of sunny outside, but you guys get the idea. And the car is so shiny you can actually see me now. Okay, so we're gonna put that back here. The sealant or protection that's on this car is this Polish Angel Master Sealant. This is SiO2 based, and it has a handful of other things inside of it. It says wait about 15 minutes, but we waited about 20 to 30, and the second coat we waited about an hour. So I did 2 coats of this, about a half an hour in between each coat, and then the last coat waited about an hour. And then on top, which I haven't applied yet, but I will during the first wash as a quote drying aid, is this Rapid Wax. So this is sort of the topper or sacrificial layer to have on your car. Nowadays it's like layers on layers on layers. This is something that I'm going to be using as a drying aid maybe about once a month. This is sort of a hybrid wax. It's honestly, this combo is kind of like the Colonite 845 plus the Power Lock combination that a lot of guys use if they're not doing a coating. But I will say this is much easier to apply and works really well so far. I haven't used this, but we'll just have to see how it works. But I'm really excited, and this will be very easy to use and maintain. And I figured if I hate this stuff, I can always go to a coating. Maybe in a few months or something like that, but for now I wanted something easy and something different and something that a lot of guys I knew really loved. So that's really the reason I ended up on this. You know, coatings are great, but I just wanted to change it up. 2 cars that are coated, I wanted something different, you know. So, and it's still really good. It's still very durable. So last but not least, this is something called Presto Detail, which is also by Polish Angel. This is more of kind of like a, you know, it's just like a very short detail spray, so maybe you could be using this as a drying aid, or if there's bird, actually I literally just read this say if there's bird droppings, so you'd saturate the bird droppings with this, blot it with the towel, and then you know, kind of try to scoop it off the paint. That's the process I use. So any special areas, or maybe even in the door jambs, or there's, you know, dirt buildup behind the wheel, you know, this is nice to have. Using this and layering it, I feel like it wouldn't work as well, but we'll have to see. We'll have to experience it together, and I'll definitely keep you guys informed. So I have a little new trio here that is very new to me. You know, definitely comment below if you have any tips, kind of anything I said. If it sounds wrong or stupid, let me know. But that's gonna be the plan for all these products for now. So I actually ended up going at that pretty quickly, 10 minutes, and I kind of wrapped everything up pretty quick. As I mentioned, there are a few other things I want to do on this car. The trim in particular, I have Car Pro Deluxe, and I also have Geon trim, and I really like Geon trim. I've used it on, I think, I've used it on a handful of cars, and I thought it was really good. Car Pro Deluxe is good as well. I'm not gonna do much to the wheels right now. That'll be later, we can talk about that. But of course, we have this trim that is just disgusting, and those aren't polishing marks from me, so we didn't bump the polisher. They were always this color. If you guys look in other videos, the trim was just literally this color. It's either discolored from, you know, fading, or, you know, something else, some sort of cleaner or whatever it might have been. Someone might have polished it in the past and, you know, not masked it off properly, but as you saw in the videos, we definitely had this thing masked off. In the future, I'm definitely gonna be doing, there's like a FedEx truck over there. In the future, I'm definitely gonna be doing an exhaust detail. I'll probably back it up on the Rhino ramps and really go to town, you know, with steel wool and maybe a little bit of protection. I'm not really sure exactly what I'll be using in the exhaust yet, but, you know, more to come as usual. All right, guys, so I think you guys get the idea. I hope that was a helpful recap. That was sort of everything we used, an expedited explanation of everything we did. I tried to highlight a few important things like the dusting and how long it took in between each step. This was definitely between 20 and 25 hours. I'm probably gonna save that for a separate video to explain why certain things take so long, because people who don't detail don't understand why it takes 20 hours to do this. If you have ever detailed a car, even like a one-step polish, and you do it properly, you would understand it would easily take you probably over 10 hours. This car was rough, guys. This was very rough. So if you're new to the channel, you're new to detailing, first of all, welcome. But second of all, there actually is validity behind me saying that this took over 20 hours. Is not an exaggeration, and I'm not that slow, and I'm not that crappy at detailing, I don't think. And I had a few friends help me. So 20 to 25 man hours, that is definitely not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. So I will leave a link in the description for all of the products. Most of them are on Amazon, so there should just be quick little Amazon links that you guys can refer to. And feel free to ask me questions. I have an email, Brandon@ShiftedPerspective. Thanks again for the guys who helped me. Sammy, you were here for several days, and Bradley came by. So it was seriously great to have even just a few guys. Even, you know, they weren't there the whole time I was here doing this, you know, in the evening time, but really helpful. The support is amazing, and you know, I love that you guys are just loving this series. As you know, I tried to get this thing pushed out as ASAP because I know that everyone's so excited about it. So now it's finally done. We're gonna have tinting, we're gonna have a shifter, we're gonna have a bunch of other stuff happen to this M5. I'm so excited. But anyways, with that said, before I start rambling some more, thank you again for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you peeps next time.